Hi everybody, and thank you for joining us for this edition of IVF Life Stories. Today I'm so excited, I feel like I'm a bit of a fan club. I'm so excited to be joined by Inge Kormelink of the Clínica Tambre in Madrid. The clinic is known for its personalised care and high success rates, and is a leading choice for patients not just in Spain but for patients all around the world, especially from the UK. I think you've gained international accreditation for having such a great reputation. Thank you so much for being here.
Yes, no, thank you as well for the invitation. I'm very glad and very happy to be here. So looking forward to this conversation with you. Yes.
The reason why IVF Life Stories was launched, because there are so many amazing, passionate, inspirational people at the top of the field of fertility, and
Yes.
we want to know a bit more about them, and you are so up there. As I said, it's an honor to have you. Just as a starting point,
yes,
thinking about women's bodies and fertility in general, for you, when did your fertility knowledge grow? How did you find out about the birds and the bees?
Oh, yeah, that started at home when I was a little girl. I mean, back then and many years ago, perhaps people were not so open about it, but it's true that at school, but also at home, my mother had a little booklet. So she started speaking a little bit about biology and the birds and the bees, what you said about. So perhaps it was not a very detailed conversation, but enough to keep interest and actually to give me a foundation for future life, let's say. So, yeah.
And were you interested in medical stuff at that point? Where was your education passion taking you?
Yeah, no, actually, when I really, if you have questions about fertility, when I actually really knew about fertility and about having children, perhaps that for a female that would start a little bit late, but in my case, it started actually quite early when I was only 40 years perhaps, because that is when I had an appendix rupture, which is for female is actually quite invasive. Was in my case, it meant that I still had my ovaries, but I didn't have my fallopian tubes. So it means actually when I was in the hospital, when a doctor's team came to me and said, okay, what you've had is actually quite severe. And also in the Dutch way, very direct, it's actually quite possible that you will never have children, or it will be very difficult to have children. I was only 14 years, so it was actually a life-changing, very painful event. And then actually I knew that IVF could be an option for me to have a desired family, because I knew from little, my parents, 3 kids, I have 2 brothers. I knew that I would like to have children in future. Yeah.
How did that knowledge impact on relationships? Did you go into relationships having to be open about fertility very early on?
Yes, absolutely, yeah. I mean, of course, it is a painful event, and of course, it shapes you. At that time, I was like, "Oh my God, I'll never have a family," and it made me actually feel quite insecure. Although I was a very good student and I was very successful in everything I did in both studies and later along also in work in my professional career. But of course, it shapes you, it influences you. But I will always be open to my partner at that time, and actually with that same partner, I also have had my kids. So yeah, it was not easy. I had support from my family, support from my partner, but it was not in my time. It was not something you spoke about with the rest of the world, let's say. So it was not like we now say TTC, talk about trying. Nothing, and there was no internet. You couldn't go to internet to speak with other people about it, like you have now, like forums, or you read about it, or you have a lot of more information, which is very good and which should be the way. It's that time as well, but it wasn't like that, and it was the pathway to parenthood was quite lonely. I have to say that, yeah.
But often very isolating.
Yes.
I guess one thing, just because as I said, I'm quite a nosy person, I'm naturally curious.
That's good. Curiosity is very good.
were you able to access, was there state-funded fertility treatment, or was it self-funded? Was money a factor in when you could begin to try and have a family?
Yeah, no, of course, that's a good question. No, there was actually, so once I knew, they did a test that my tubes effectively didn't work. So IVF could be a solution for me. So once I knew that, so what I did was first analyze what are my options. I think I was then not even 30 years. So and then we started in Netherlands, and it's funded. You have like 3 IVF rounds that are funded by the government, and then I started with IVF. Yeah.
Okay. And how was that? You've mentioned it was quite isolating.
Yes.
How did you cope with it?
I think with my parents and my partner, there was not much more. I didn't speak, not even with my brothers. It was not something we spoke about. Nobody. Also with the doctors was not something that they were very talkative about. The emotional part, the personal part was more very analytical, like, okay, this is what you have. Let's try an IVF cycle, and if it works, perfect. And if not, well, yeah, then we try another time. So it was, it was complicated. It was complicated. Yeah.
Gosh. And again, just thinking about your autonomy and your choices, did you have a choice of clinics at that time, or were you?
No, it was that time in the Netherlands, and later with Thomas, we have 3 children, twin daughters, identical twin daughters of now already 19 years. Can you imagine? And Thomas is 13. So in Netherlands, you didn't have a choice. In Spain, in Spain we know there's many clinics. It was also later. I'm now speaking about 2010, 2011. We had more options, and I had more information about it. It was more about, there was not so much taboo anymore about it, like than 20 years ago. Yeah. Yes.
And were you working at the time you went through your treatment? What were you doing professionally at the time that you were trying to conceive?
Yes, no, I mean, my background is actually economics. So I was working at a multinational. I've been working in several multinationals. I lived and worked in 5 different countries. So at that time, with my daughters, I was still working in multinational, but it's true that we moved to Spain, and you can call it destiny or fate, I don't know, but perhaps it had to be like that. So when I was pregnant with Thomas, I was actually approached to work for an IVF clinic, and I was pregnant with Thomas.
Wow.
Yes, and at that time I said to the owner of the clinic, because he wanted me to create new strategies for the clinic, had to change the whole approach towards patients. And I said, okay, it's not the right moment. I'm pregnant. I think I was in my 7th month or something. I was, close to giving birth. And then, but I took 1 year sabbatical year. Because I knew it was going to be, Thomas was the 3rd child, it will be the last child. So I took 1 sabbatical year, and then I started at that clinic here in Spain. And amazing. So I think it had to be like that. Yeah, that I would be able to share my experiences, my knowledge, economic background, but also my knowledge about IVF. And I really wanted to transmit, to improve the patient journey, because I think, this can be done much better. Yeah.
Backtracking a little bit to your work in economics when you were going through treatment with your daughters.
Yes.
How did you manage a high-level career and treatment? Did you telework? Were work aware if you were quite quiet?
Quiet. Yeah. No, nothing that I at that time could share with work. It's not like now you can say, I have to go for ultrasound. No, at that time, especially in the Netherlands, that was not possible. Yeah. No.
How was that for you? Just because I acknowledge just the uncertainty, it can be a nightmare when you're not sure when you're having a test or something.
Exactly, a test. That was very difficult, because also at that time, IVF was not so successful as right now. Less technologies, less advances, less knowledge and experience in IVF as well. I wasn't successful at the first round. So when you have an unsuccessful round, it's very, very complicated. It was very, very, very difficult time. Yeah.
And when you'd had your daughters, because often going on a secondary fertility journey, there can be support from friends and family for your first journey, and then there can be a sense, oh, do you need to do it again? Was there support there for you to try for your son, or were people just happy to support you with the decisions that you made?
Yeah, no, with Thomas already in Spain, of course, we shared it with the family, because that was already like, I was very happy to do so. So yeah, that has been of a great support for me as well. Yeah. So not people were not really were giving advice, but like, okay, it has been you already have twins, so that went very well. So of course this should go well as well, and it did actually. Yeah.
Fantastic.
So,
was Thomas successful with your first cycle?
yes, it was. And actually a nice detail with my daughters, because that was actually, I felt sometimes like a guinea pig, no, with my first, with my daughters, because there was not much knowledge about it, and the cycles, didn't go well, but not because of me, but more of a medical part. So they transferred actually one embryo, and after one embryo, I got two beautiful daughters. So it was like, this has to be like that. I have to, and it was, of course, we were over the moon with having two daughters. Yeah. So it was great, and little Thomas as well. So my kids know about it. They also went to visit me at work many times to see how we work. They know how they came to the world, let's say so, and we're all very proud of it. Yeah.
Oh, that's so lovely. How old were they when you started telling them about your pathway to parenthood? Did you tell them when they were younger, or wait until they were a bit older?
Yeah, no, young, on a young age. I think Thomas he didn't understand it perhaps, but very, very little, because we told him at the same time. So I don't know. Yeah, perhaps my daughters with 6 years, perhaps, when they started understanding about it, and I took them to the clinic actually where I worked, and yes, yeah, and I think they even went to school and spoke. They did like a little lecture about it, about IVF, biology, and so that was actually quite interesting. Yeah.
Oh, that's so fabulous. I think quite a few clinics now, every now and again, have an open day where families bring their children in. Is that something you do as well?
Yeah, exactly. We also do it. And we have a clinic. We have a beautiful clinic in Madrid. And we have the younger children, they come with the parents, but also, for instance, we also have they can be 1 day or 3 days at the clinic to be in the laboratory when they're a bit older, from 16 till in the university age. They can come to the clinic and be 1 day with the nurses, with the doctors, and with the laboratory. Yeah.
Oh, that's fabulous.
Yes.
One of the things I wanted to ask you was about how your own experience shapes, because I know there is such a ethos of educating, empowering people with information.
Yes.
How are you doing that? But even that just feels perfect, just to be able to welcome people. It's beautiful.
Yes, absolutely. I think that I, with all my at that time when I was younger, that was a very painful, life-changing event. Actually, now I'm like, okay, it's actually has been positive for me, because I have beautiful children, a great family, and also being a CEO of a leading clinic right now in Spain, it feels like a full circle for me. So it means that not only my experience and knowledge about leading companies, but also my experience. Moreover, actually, my experience as a patient, that what a patient needs, especially when you're from abroad, because I had the same. I came from the Netherlands. I didn't speak Spanish so well, and I came to Spain. It was a very Spanish clinic, and so I know what people go through, and I know that is so important. Of a great importance is the whole empathy, the compassion what I have, the emotional part. That's also very important. So in the end, what we want to do, not only, of course, the main objective is that everybody will have a baby, create families, but also the whole patient journey is as less stressful as possible. And that's what we work on every day. Of course, we're doing very well. As you said, we're a leading clinic, but we always want to improve the patient journey. We always want to change bits and pieces that we can even help better our patients, and that they are comfortable when they come here. Yeah.
And as you said, it's certainly a beautiful clinic.
Yes.
I think when you're in a stressful situation, fertility treatment's stressful.
Yes,
you want to feel comfortable. You want to feel safely held and supported.
Yes, supported, that's the word. Once we feel supported, and also at Tambre, for instance, we have about 30% is national patients from Madrid and Alicante area, and 70% is from abroad. So it's very stressful for people. They have to travel to another country. But what we do is that we pick them up for the airport. We have patients in their own language, because it's not only that you understand, but and you say that you speak the same language, but also culture, because it's very different. Somebody from the Netherlands or from the UK, from Wales, for instance, or from Germany, than a patient that you would treat somebody from Spain. So we have language units that people. So you have the native speaking doctor, nurse, embryologist, and patient coordinator that guide the patient through the whole patient journey. Yeah.
Oh, how wonderful.
Yes. Yeah. Yeah.
I think there can be so much uncertainty. You want to feel safely held, don't you? You want to feel
supported. If you have questions, you have doubts, it's very emotional. Yeah, for the male, also for the male, not only female, also the male, because sometimes they feel like left out, and we also want to give them also the support they need. Yeah.
Thinking again, just back to your own journey, how supported did your husband feel? How did he cope with IVF? How does he feel about you working in a clinic now?
Yes, yeah. Oh, my partner. He's very proud of me. Very proud of what I've achieved, and so absolutely supports me. So that's very good. And also my kids. I think I never knew, because in the end you sort of balance, isn't it, your personal life with working. And it's true that I travel. But they're also very proud of me, because the other day I heard in a dinner, actually last Saturday, I heard my daughter talking about what I was doing to a friend, and was like, okay, she's very proud of what I do. And that's good to hear. Yeah.
You create new life,
we fulfill dreams of people, isn't it? Because it's true that people that come here, the patients that come here, in many cases we are the last chance for them to have to create a family. They have had a few cycles in their own country, and then they come to us. So what we do is actually we really check what they have done in the past, what we have to do different to give them the best possible treatment plan for success. And so that's why we are supporting them, of course. So we create life, we help them to fulfill their dreams of becoming parents of a baby. Yeah.
And again, just thinking that treatment doesn't work for everybody.
Yes.
But one of the reasons that I was so keen to have you within IVF Life Stories was because the number of patients that I've worked with whose treatment hasn't been successful, but they felt so well looked after and go on to recommend the clinic. Yes. And I think actually that is such a beautiful recommendation, that actually I know I've ticked every box to do everything I could, because I felt safe, held, looked after, listened to. It feels you get it so very right.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, that's what we aim for, and I'm very happy, pleased to hear that you have that feedback from patients. But absolutely, of course, if you're not successful, which of course can happen, medicine is not 100%. We hope that we aim to that everybody feels supported and listened to, so that at least, or they come back to us for that we can see what we can do different or better, or at least recommend us. Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, that's actually the best PR we can receive. Yeah.
And one of the questions I was going to ask you was, had you found patients from different countries need different sorts of support? And you've already said that you have in place different languages and recognize the cultural differences.
Yes.
How does that work in the clinic? Do staff find it confusing, overwhelming, or how do you support your team? How do you keep the team doing so well when you have patients from all over?
Yes, I think the best thing, I always have a big smile when you speak about the team, because of course we have a gorgeous clinic with the latest technologies. It's really stunning clinic. But the team, that's the heart of Tambre, isn't it? So the embryologists, the doctors, the nurses, but also all the patient coordinators. So I have to say that in these years, because I came to Madrid to restructure Clínica Tambre. So it was actually a clinic that was a bit outdated. So we built it back to growth by personalizing the treatments and the latest technologies. But the team, of course, is key. That's the heart of Tambre. Yeah. So how do we keep them motivated? I think the people we selected, and actually key person, I always do that personally. They love what we do. They love what we do. Every time when we have somebody write us or send us a picture that she's pregnant or they are pregnant, they're having a baby, or we cheer, so we're very happy. I think, to be honest, I have passion for IVF, of course. IVF is my life. And I think also I transmit that to the team. So people love what they're doing. We are passionate about what we're doing. We love helping people. We love creating life. And I think that motivates us, and we are a very engaged team, let's say. So it's very esprit de corps, what is they call it in France. We have passion for life. We have passion for what we do. So it's overwhelming sometimes in terms of language, not because it's actually, I think it's motivating because everybody's from somewhere, and I think 50% is Spanish, but other 50% is from the UK, the Netherlands, Germany, South America, Nordics, so that's actually, it's, I don't know, it gives energy, energy to everyone. It's inspiring. Inspiring is the word.
I love that you celebrate, that you have a cheer when there's a pregnancy or a birth announced. I used to work with one clinic where in the staff canteen there was a counter for how many babies had been born, and that used to be so exciting. Yes. Just thinking about the world, I guess, when you have clients coming in from everywhere. Yes. What do you think are the biggest misconceptions about IVF? Because it used to feel everyone thought it was successful, and then people get a bit more realistic. But what do you think needs to change in terms of education about IVF?
I think the biggest misconception, which perhaps we are in the sector, we believe, how come? But we still have patients, and there's actually many, that still believe that fertility is forever. The fertility, your fertility doesn't decrease with age, because we all know we are born with like 200 million oocytes, and it decreases in numbers, but also in quality, the way you get older. But we have so many patients that are almost 40 years, and they believe that it's still very easy to have children. They don't understand why they don't get pregnant the natural way. And then you have to explain them and give them more information, like, oh, okay, listen, that your fertility decreases with age, with aging. So I think that is one of the most persistent myths, actually, about fertility.
So hard. We have fertility education initiatives in the UK, but you don't hear the messages. No. So many of the messages are use contraception, don't ruin your life and get pregnant too early.
Yeah, we always speak about how to prevent a pregnancy. We never explain to our daughters and also sons that there's also a limit to having children, isn't it? On a natural way, exactly. Another myth perhaps is that I get questions. The other day we had like a New Year's drink with our neighbors, and they said, oh yeah, but IVF treatments that produces cancer. But there's that's also a source of fear for many people, but it's not like that. There's so many studies, and there's no strong evidence that says that IVF treatment hormones produces cancer in females. So that's another myth that I actually think we should bust, isn't it? Yeah.
Oh, totally. Especially when, certainly during lockdown in the UK, we had so many women who wanted to donate eggs because they were working from home, had more time, had capacity.
Yes.
So actually, I can donate eggs. We wouldn't welcome egg donors if fertility drugs prompted cancer. So again, absolutely, if we can do anything, let's bust that one.
Yes, exactly. And also IVF is also, we also treat same-sex couples and single female. IVF is also for same-sex couples, not only because you're infertile, but also because you have a different family model, which is perfectly fine. Yeah.
Again, I apologize for my ignorance. Is surrogacy possible in Spain?
No, it's not possible. It's not allowed. Yeah, no.
It's one of those interesting ones because I have same-sex couples coming to Spain, so
Yes.
I assume that if you treat two females, you treat two males as well,
Yeah.
because it just
Yeah, that makes sense. That makes sense, but it's not allowed. Yeah, that makes sense. Yeah, but it's not allowed. No, and I don't think that will change easily. No.
Okay, but it's great that you're treating single women and same-sex couples as well, which is just great to hear. Again, thinking of age and fertility, I see many more same-sex couples who are more mature, who are older in years, and again, there is that assumption that if it's a same-sex couple, they'll be younger, but no, often older as well. So
Yes.
again, people aren't settling for the wrong relationship; they're waiting until they're in the right relationship, and the fertility often does.
Yeah.
How about egg freezing? How has egg freezing grown? Are you a clinic that does a lot of egg freezing or a little?
Yeah, no, very good question. Because like many, no, not so long ago, perhaps I'm speaking about 5 years ago, egg freezing was actually more because it was like indication when you're a cancer patient, or isn't it? Yeah, but it's true that since the last 5 years, especially the last 2-3 years, it has increased a lot, which I think is very good because there's more information about fertility, and female would like to freeze their eggs. Yeah, it is true that the best at the age to do that is perhaps 25, 26, but we see that the patient profile that's coming to us at Tambre for social freezing, for egg freezing, is more patient between 35 and 39 years. Yeah. And it means that they normally need more cycles to have a number of eggs that are good to freeze. Yeah.
And again, it is that education and empowerment is
Yes.
needed. Take control, but let's do it a little bit younger.
Yes. Yeah. Exactly. Yeah. So it's good that we have also conversations like this, that we can create more awareness on this, isn't it? On IVF, on egg freezing, absolutely, on fertility of the female, yeah, and male, yeah.
How involved are you in developing reproductive technologies, use of AI? How, because I have you down as also someone who's quite nosy and curious about lots of things. So how involved do you get in all the different areas within the clinic?
Actually, I'm involved in every area as a CEO. Of course, we have the medical area, the laboratory, which is andrology and IVF, and of course, then you have finance, HR, marketing, and sales. But yes, I'm very much involved. I'm not a clinician, but for instance, last week we were with our Tambre Foundation. We were at the BFS, the British Fertility Society conference. We had 2 lectures about two scientific studies that we published and we could lecture about. We have so I am involved absolutely, with all the new developments. It can be artificial intelligence that can improve the outcome of embryo selection for best embryo selection for transfer. It can be for testing for endometrial receptivity, non-invasive genetic testing, because we use PGTA, the pre-implantation genetic testing, but there are also non-invasive technologies. So I'm very much involved. I think after all these years that I'm in IVF, I've gathered so much knowledge, and knowledge helps you to improve also, or to take good decisions. And we always discuss with the team. So I have weekly meetings with, for instance, this morning with my medical director, tomorrow I have my lab director, and we definitely speak about not only the workflows but also about technologies how we can improve and have the continuous improvement to have better outcomes for our patient, because in the end that's what you want. You want that our patients have the best options to the best most optimal options to have to create a family. Yeah.
And just thinking about those options and opportunities, it feels so important that I know it sounds a bit strange maybe, but when you said about how proud you were hearing your children talk about you at the dinner, it feels you've got an ear for what the kids are saying, an ear for what each of your professional departments are saying, awareness of your own journey. There's holistic information there that's taken in. So whoever shone the light and said, come and work for the fertility clinic, it feels they found a real gem.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, thank you. Yeah.
Thinking about how much is going on, how many plates are spinning, how do you manage that work-life balance? How do you make work for you?
How do I make work for me? Well, first of all, 95% goes well. Of course, I'm also a human being. Sometimes it doesn't go well. Then everything is perfectly planned, and then something happens like, okay, how I'm going to do this. Yeah, how do I manage this is a very good question. Well, of course, it's passion for my work, what I'm doing, but I also take good care of myself. I do. First, I have to be in top form. So I do my sports. I eat healthy. Most of the time, I eat healthy because this is Spain, and the food is so good in Spain with the sun. Yeah, and of course, I dedicate time to the kids and my partner. Yeah. So.
Do you ring fence that? Do you have support at home as well as at work? I know it sounds a bit of an odd question, but I work with so many people who've had a fertility journey who are frightened that that's going to impact on their career in the future. And you've actually proven that isn't the case. You can enhance your professional life after a fertility journey.
Oh, absolutely, but I couldn't do it without support. It's not that I'm a superwoman. I don't want to pretend I'm that, because of course you need support from your family, kids, partners, other family, friends as well, and of course also work, because in the end, work you do it together. We are a team, and of course as a leader, there's somebody like me that creates the strategies, but in the end you do it together with the team. So of course we support each other. So on professional side and personal side, I think I'm just very lucky, that we created it. But also that's something I would like to transmit to anybody who's here as a patient, that don't be afraid to ask for help, because that's what I couldn't do at my time. And it was really very hard, and I don't desire that to anybody who's going to IVF. So you have to ask for help, and people understand, they support you. So that's absolutely, you need a support system. That's absolutely very important. Yeah.
Oh, that's great to hear. And again, it is that your fertility journey doesn't define you. You might as well claim the strength of you and project it into the future and carry it with you.
Yes, absolutely. Yeah.
Our audience are routinely a mix of professionals and often people embracing assisted conception too. Are there any key points or words of wisdom that you believe everyone should know that needs to be shared?
Words of wisdom. Yeah, what I said before, the support system is very, very important, but also important to keep in mind hope and be patient. Don't be afraid when you go to a first visit. Don't be afraid to ask any questions. Don't go home with questions, or if you have questions later on, please, write an email, call them. Of course, it's a lot of information always to take in as a patient. Trust and expertise, of course, when you select a clinic, trust on the team, very important. Who you're going to work with, let's say, so who you're going to choose for your fertility journey, better said. And also I think it's very good that you empower yourself with knowledge. Of course, there's a lot on the internet, so you have to be aware as well what you choose as a source. But I think it's important that you also have your own information to make informed decisions. And I think what's very important is that it's all small steps, isn't it, in your journey? So you have to celebrate every step that you move forward. Your first visit, your testing, if it goes well, your cycle. So I think that's those points are very important. Besides the support, you can't do it alone. You need somebody, or your support system that will help you and guide you through to the patient journey. Yes.
I think that's so important when you've just said about celebrating the small wins.
Yes. Yeah.
Oh my God, it's like your clinic cheer.
Yes.
You have to celebrate every win that's there, recognizing the strengths as you move forward.
Yes, absolutely, yeah. And if things go wrong, go back to the clinic, to your coordinator, a support system. And for instance, when I had my journey, it was like I felt alone. I thought I was young. I thought I was the only one with this problem, because nobody spoke about it, and that's a very, very tough situation. So just think about it. You're not alone. Many people have gone through that. I will recommend people also to watch the film Joy. It's very good about the Louise Brown story, isn't it? And see from where IVF came in 1978 till where it is now. It's amazing. It's incredible. So also people know you're not alone. Yeah. And nowadays we have very good opportunities, very good options to fulfill the dream of becoming parents, of a healthy baby. Yeah.
And I think there are, but I was quite privileged to meet Bob Edwards at one of the National Infertility Days.
He did too, yes.
He didn't create IVF to create babies. It was to alleviate the suffering of women who needed help to try and conceive. And I think the film really resonates that we've had a couple of studies in the UK. 40% of people going through fertility treatment can have suicidal thoughts, 80 to 90% anxiety and depression. The emotional scaffolding needs to be there, and it feels that Clínica Tambre, my goodness, you're making strides to make sure everyone's got that scaffolding there for them.
Yeah, absolutely. We also work, but it's a good point you mentioned, because we have psychologists in-house, but also we work with fertility coaches, which is the counseling is very important, and absolutely a plus, or actually a must, I think, when you go to fertility treatment, because it's not easy,
It's not easy, but when you've got great support around you, everything is possible, we hope.
Exactly.
Thank you so much for joining me today. It's been an absolute pleasure to meet you. Thank you for everybody who's been listening. We've had a small audience today because it's a little bit earlier, but we will be available on the YouTube channel later on.
Oh, perfect. Yes.
Thank you again so much, and have a really lovely rest of day. And I hope you have a fantastic, kind year ahead.
Okay, thank you. Thank you so much for the interview, and looking forward to see it on YouTube. And thank you for all. Okay, have a lovely afternoon as well. Bye-bye. Bye.
Bye, everybody, and thank you for joining today, and I look forward to seeing you for the next edition.